Seattle's mid-century rhythm and blues community flocked to Birdland. Barney Hilliard stands beside the imposing sixth-floor summit at Madison Park, a self-described boutique retail residential complex. Signs for Safeway and Starbucks hover above, while cars whiz by on the adjacent arterial, freshly paved for the pending installation of a new Rapid Ride G bus line. Any visible residue of history at 22nd and East Madison seems to have vanished. But to Hilliard, 85, a lifelong tenor saxophonist from Renton, it still feels like home. His school buildings, Horace Mann Elementary, Edmund Meany Junior High, and Garfield High, are mere blocks away, as are YMCA and YWCA branches and churches. Likewise is true for the sites of long-gone restaurants, a pharmacy, and a shop that sold rhythm and blues records that were banned from radio airplay. And on this very corner stood the Hub. This was the place to be, Hilliard says. The place was Birdland. Named after legendary saxophonist Charlie Bird Parker and New York's Birdland Club, the Central District incarnation drew national acts from Cal Tjader to Big J McNeely for 10 years. The hotspot, raised in 1965, is a big focus of Peter Blecka's new Northwest music history book, Stomp and Shout. Formerly the Gala Theater Movie House in the silent 1920s and into the early sound era, it screened Frankenstein in 1932, the two-floor building later hosted Democratic and Republican rallies and other gatherings. In 1942, soon after the U.S. entry to World War II, it also was a civil control station to register Japanese residents for forcible evacuation from Seattle. It became the Savoy Ballroom, then East Side Hall, when the City Council, seeking to better serve Seattle's black community in 1946, relaxed its unwritten but rigid policy forbidding cabarets east of 8th Avenue. By the time the $1,000 Birdland neon sign went up in 1955, Hilliard and friends had formed what became the influential Dave Lewis combo, playing teen dances from West Seattle to Ballard and all the high schools in between, he says. Because the integrated Birdland stayed open until 3:30 a.m., the versatile covers band could finish a gig elsewhere and return to the club to enjoy late shows. In late 1956, the Lewis troupe landed a prime perch, opening act for the house. Hilliard left the combo in 1959. For decades, with a law degree, he assumed noteworthy Seattle-based business, nonprofit, and governmental roles, but he kept soaring with his sax, retiring only 10 years ago. He traces everything back to Birdland. With a hearty smile and laugh, his emotion for the era is right in tune. It was a labor of love, but it was mainly love. We just loved what we were doing. In our first then photo, this view looking southwest as pedestrians with umbrellas crossed East Madison Street, the Birdland neon sign oversees the arterial's intersection with 22nd Avenue, circa 1961. When the city rezoned the Birdland property in 1963, the landowner's attorney, John Ehrlichman, later the infamous counsel to President Richard Nixon, said the neighborhood needed a supermarket, noting that Birdland would definitely go. In 1965, Birdland was razed, and an Albertsons rose in its place. In our second then photo, facing east, with streetcar tracks in the foreground, this 1937 view is of Birdland's early predecessor, the Gala Theater Movie House, with blank marquee 1 year after it closed. In our third then photo, facing east, this 1951 view shows the building's conversion to East Side Hall, formerly the Savoy Ballroom. A barely visible Afro-American sign hangs in the shade beneath the overhang. In our fourth then photo, this view looking northeast along Madison Street, The Birdland neon sign at right anchors a busy Madison Street, circa 1958. Today, standing in East Madison Street to match the then view are, from left, award-winning Seattle percussionist Devon Lewis displaying a cymbal, and Seattle's Dave Lewis Jr. holding an umbrella, grandson and son, respectively, of the late pianist and organist Dave Lewis, 1938 to 1998, whose Dave Lewis combo played Birdland throughout the club's 10-year run. At right, holding tenor sax, is Barney Hilliard, who played in the combo from 1953 through 1959. Barney Hilliard displays his tenor sax, which dates to 1965. He retired from performing only 10 years ago. And chatting in front of the Summit at Madison Park complex, former site of Birdland, are, from left, Devon Lewis, Barney Hilliard, and Dave Lewis Jr. Finally, a portrait of percussionist Donovan Devon Kranzler Lewis, 10-year-old great-grandson of the late Dave Lewis. He regularly performs with his father, bolstering the family tradition.